I feel really privileged to be here. I've cried, I've laughed, I've been profoundly touched. And I feel really privileged to be alive. I'm grateful that I'm alive. In 1944, my parents were in a concentration camp in Vichy, France. My mother engineered an escape. She actually got my father out. And my parents walked through the Alps. My mother was pregnant with me. And when they got to the Swiss border, the border was closed to refugees. My mother threw herself into Switzerland. Anything for her was better than going back to the hell she came from. And my father succeeded in smuggling himself a few days later. And in 1944, I was born. Decades later, I'm sitting with my mother in an old age home in Israel. And I cannot bear to see her. She's sitting in a wheelchair. She doesn't know who I am. I feel guilty, I feel sad, I'm struggling, I'm angry. This is my hero. Why should she be here? And I realize that I'm not visiting her. I'm with my own emotions, and I make a decision. I'm going to cross the bridge to the world of my mother. I will leave the world where I am struggling, and I will go and meet her. And I will bring with me new eyes. And so I did. I came, I sat across from her, and I crossed the bridge, and I landed in her world, and I looked at her. And she looked at me. And in Yiddish, she said, "Du bist meine Tochter. You are my daughter." And I started to cry, and with her hands, she gently wiped my tears. She hadn't recognized me for months. Of course, I hadn't been there emotionally. This miracle with my mother illustrates the three invisible connectors that I want to talk to you about today. It is the relational space, the space. It is the bridge between the worlds, the bridge. And it is the encounter, human essence to human essence, the encounter. These three invisible connectors, you know them. You live them. But you may never have framed them that way. And in working with couples for many, many years, I've come to see that those are the three invisible connectors. Let me start by talking to you about the space. It is the Jewish philosopher Martin Buber who said, "Our relationship lives in the space between us. It doesn't live in me or in you or even in the dialogue between the two of us. It lives in the space that we live together." And he said, that space is sacred space. Now, if we don't know about the space, if we don't know how to take responsibility for the space we live together, we will actually pollute it. The way I polluted the space with my mother, I polluted the space with my mother not because I was feeling my feelings. I polluted the space with my mother because I unconsciously put all these emotions in the middle between us, unconsciously. When we don't know about the space, we pollute it quite automatically. A word, a look, a reaction, a withdrawal, a criticism, a judgment, we put it there unconsciously. And the space becomes uncomfortable.